Hello, welcome to today's tutorial on creating a MathCast Step 1, how to choose a lesson and plan your MathCast. To start with, you were given a plan sheet. So in our example today, I'm going to be looking for a MathCast on a topic covered in Chapter 1. So to begin with, I will want to pick a lesson from Engage New York. In order to make that process slightly easier, I have given you a whole notebook filled with possible topics from the lessons incorporated in Engage New York. Start by going to Symbaloo, which you can find in Blackboard under Resource and Links. This icon here, where it says MathCast Topics, will give you the option to click on it, and it will open up an online version of a OneNote notebook that has all of the MathCast topics for Math 148 and 149. I will warn you, when you first load this notebook or click on the link, it does take a while for the page to load, but after it comes up, you'll see some guidelines and then two different sections, one for each course. I have students create MathCasts because explaining a mathematical concept, you need to be able to truly understand it, versus when you just do math, you don't necessarily have to have a true understanding of it. And because you're pre-service teachers, soon your job will be to explain mathematics clearly to a young audience, often in multiple ways. The language of mathematics needs to be practiced so that when you're teaching, you can use it correctly. Unfortunately, there is not enough time during class to have each person present and explain every single topic. I try to give you practice by using smaller groups so that you can use some of that time to practice communicating mathematics effectively. But I also want to be able to assess you on this individually. So I've asked you to create a MathCast, and it is easier to explain the mathematics as you're demonstrating it, meaning writing and talking, or visuals and talking at the same time, versus just a stagnant image with written words. This is not as effective. So the MathCast allow us to put a demonstration or a tutorial together for a specific grade level. So to choose your MathCast, by the way, I've created a couple sample MathCasts, or I shouldn't say I created them. I put a couple sample MathCasts in here from previous students. And when you click on those, they'll load up. The first slide is the title slide. Usually after the title slide, students do some vocabulary. And after the vocabulary, they choose some examples to go over. And then the last part of the MathCast is their title slide, where they've included the links to any place they went online to get information and any additional apps or images they've used. I've included a link here to the title and resource slides so you can screen capture them and use them in your MathCast. But let's pick a topic. Let's go to Math 148. We're going to expand this, and we want Chapter 1, so we're going to click on Chapter 1, and the pages will come up here. The first page has some quick links right there, but it's not easy just by looking at the links to know what they're about. I have included the grade level and the lesson number, but it doesn't tell you the objective. So I also printed them inside OneNote right over here in this left column. So for example, if I want to look at grade K Mod 5 lesson 8, I can click on it right here, and I can quickly see what the objective is. Each lesson in Engage New York has a lesson, an objective, a lesson plan, including some back and forth between a fake teacher and student and what a conversation might look like, some examples, and then every one of them has a problem set, exit tickets, and homework problems. So let's go to, I'm going to go to grade 1, Mod 6, lesson 4. Notice very similar structure here, lesson number, objective, and then I put the link on each of these to the Engage New York page. And the reason I did this is because it makes it much easier to get the links and to have a nice clear pictures if you're actually on the website versus in my printout version here. So I'm going to click on this link. It's going to say open link, and it will open up the link at the page I've selected. So I'm on a computer right now, so I can see the entire URL right there. If you were on an iPad, there is a little rectangle with an arrow pointing up over here on the right side, and there is an option there to copy, and that will copy the link. So if this is the lesson I'm going to end up choosing, this is the URL that I'm going to want. So I would copy that URL, and in my plan sheet, that's what I would paste in here. So after I've pasted the link in there, the next part says to choose 3 practice exit or homework problems to use as examples in our Mathcast. So as I go back to our Engage New York and scroll down, you'll find a PDF of this lesson. If I click on it, on the computer, it will open up here down the bottom. I'll have to click on it. On the iPad, it will just automatically open. So at this point, I could go ahead and send this right into my own notebook in OneNote and have it in there. To do this on a computer, you're going to hit print and select OneNote or send to OneNote as an option. And on the iPad, there'll be an option there to share out to OneNote as well. So as I scroll down, again, the objective is there. I will need that. Sometimes it's going to have a fluency or a sprint activity. You can skip over that because we're not going to do that part of the lesson. And then eventually it gets down into the concept development, which is what we are going to focus on. I would read through this lesson and then go down into the problem set, the exit slip ticket, and the homework area, and choose the ones that you think would work best for your Mathcast. I always like to use ones that have some visual components with them. I'm going to pause for a minute and move over to my iPad so I can demonstrate how to get this from there. Okay, so now you can see my iPad screen, and you will notice that if I look up at the URL at the top here, it doesn't show everything like it did on my computer. So this is that share out button here with a rectangle with the arrow pointing out. If I choose that, I have these options of sending the link to anybody that's in my recent messaged area. And then I have AirDrop, which you can only do when you have Bluetooth. I could send it to OneNote, all sorts of things there. But all I really want to do is click this copy right here. And copy is going to just copy the link, and it's waiting for me to paste it. So if I came back to it in OneNote, and where was the one I was working on? I would just go right into here, and I have 2 options here. I can hold down my finger till the paste button comes up, or, sorry, I did it a little too quickly, or I can choose this little paste icon on my keyboard, and I like to use that one. It usually works pretty well, okay? And that will paste in the link. So that's how you can do it on your iPad. I'm gonna go back to Safari. All right, so now again, we can see the objective right there. If I need that objective, I can go ahead and copy it right there from there. And that's something that you're gonna end up wanting to put in your title slide. So maybe just over here or underneath it, I'll just paste the objective so I have it for later. Again, this is my plan of what I plan on using for my Mathcast. And I'm going to go back to the page. Down at the bottom, you're going to see 2 options, a PDF or a doc. The PDF opens much better on the iPad, so I would choose that option. And again, here I have lesson 4, grade 1, mod 6, and what the lesson is. And as I scroll down, the advantage of having it on my iPad now is once I get to those examples that I want to use, I could go ahead and start screenshotting them right here. When you are screenshotting them, you can always crop them more later, or You can crop them as you do them. It's up to you. But there is a cropping feature inside of the application we're going to use to create the Mathcast, which is called Explain Everything. So I'm going to hit the power button and the volume button to take a screenshot. If you have a home button, then yours is probably the power button and the home button. So let's say I really want to use question 1, but I don't want all these other questions to show up in mine. So I might want to crop down and just get the directions to start with. And I'm just going to hit done, save to photos, and now it's in my camera roll. If I go ahead and click it again, I might choose to get this one right here, question 1. Done, save to photos. And now, so that is, I want to use the problem set question number 1. So maybe I make a mention of that in my plan. Right here, I could say, problem set question 1. Okay. All right, next I'm going to go pick another one, just like I was doing from before. Scroll down, and maybe I like this one with the pencils here, question number 7. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this one. And I'm still on the problem set, so and I just say save to photos. In my plan, I can mention again that maybe I want to do problem set question 7. And go back, and maybe the other one I want to do is down here someplace. Maybe it's exit question number 1. So I'll go ahead and grab that one. But I could have also used any of these wonderful ones down here that are in the homework area. So I'm going to go back, and then we decided the third one was going to be exit question 1. So I could just list them right there, what they are. You could also put the pictures in there if you wanted to. So I already have them in my camera roll. I could just click pictures, go to recents, and I could quickly check the pictures that I want to include and hit done, and hit done there, and boom, they all just come in right there inside of the table. I would still save them in your camera roll, because the easiest way to get them into your Mathcast is by having them in your camera roll. So, but you're welcome to, like I said, put them pictures in there as well. What vocabulary should you use for your Mathcast? So this is a question that sometimes people have trouble with, because they're not quite sure what vocabulary children know at this grade level. So our grade level is first grade. There is an app on your iPad that's really helpful for this. So just thinking about the stuff that's in here that I might want to talk about, I might want to talk about what place value is. I might want to talk about what a digit is, if I'm going to use that word when I'm explaining. What the ones are and what the tens are. I might want to show either like a place value chart and explain what that is, or a number bond. Now, depending what grade level you're on, some of these things, if I'm at third grade, I don't need to explain what a place value chart is, because they've been using it for so long, or a number bond, they've been using them so long. But if I'm at grade K or grade 1, these might be things that I might want to review with them in the Mathcast if I'm going to be using them. So one easy thing to use is the Math Vocab app. So it's one of the ones I mentioned that maybe you might want to download. So it's this one right here. And if you click the little stack over here on the left bottom corner, you'll notice that it gives you an option of what grade range are you in. Are you in grades K to 2 or grades 3 to 5? So our chapter 1 is mostly all grades K to 2. So we would select that one. And then I'm going to uncheck everything because I don't want all of those words. And I'm going to just see if they have any of the words that I had mentioned that I might be interested in using. So if I scroll down, oh, there's digit, and they do go in alphabetical order. And oh, there's ones, place value, tens. Okay. And I just click start, and it makes a little stack of these cards. And usually the word is not showing. But if you just click the little eyeball, the word comes out. So this is one for place value. So I could screenshot this and use this in my MathCast if I wanted to. But I might want to change some of the things. So maybe I like the word, I like that they have the definition there, but since we haven't talked about the hundreds place yet, maybe I want to change this example so it doesn't have the hundreds in it, since my lesson's only going to talk about the tens and the ones. But I can easily take a screen capture of it, a screenshot, and then I can use that in my MathCast for later. And if I click on near the bottom where the arrow button is, if I click on that, it's going to take me to the next word. Again, just click on the little eyeball. And this one is for digit. And the next one I have here is for ones. The next one is for tens. And those were the 4 that I looked at. So you can decide what vocabulary words you think are necessary, which ones are review, which ones are new words. And what I like about this app is it kind of gives the visual along with the definition. So for younger grade levels, definitely having the visual component with the words is helpful. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our little plan guide that I gave you. And it says, what visuals will you use? So maybe I'm going to use in mine bundled objects. Place value charts. Number bonds. Maybe I'm going to use base 10 blocks. And then what other resources did you use? So if I'm going to use the Math Vocab app, that's not something I created on my own, so I would list that. If I'm going to go off to the web to maybe find a Google image that's specifically showing bundled objects or something, I might want to go, I might want to reference that image that I'm using. So I would put the URL of the image here if I used an image. And I might want to use my Number Pieces app. So the Number Pieces app, you are creating in it. So you don't need to list this as a resource because it's not already done for you and you're taking a screenshot of it. You're going to create this and then take the screenshot. So for that one example I have, I think it was exit question 1 where they had number pieces, but it's all in black and white. If I wanted to, I could recreate the same question, but with my, my Number Pieces app. Okay, so now that we have everything kind of put in there and ready to get started, a few things I want you to keep in mind. When you start your MathCast, once you get to the point where you're actually going to explain everything and you're going to do the MathCast, make sure that you keep your iPad in landscape mode so that it's actually going to fill the screen when you're doing the recording and posting it. Try to put only one example on each slide. Try to record in a quiet location, and make sure your first slide is the title slide and your last slide is the resource slide, which I've given you copies of right here. So for that resource slide, all the links and stuff that you have listed here in this resource area and the one that you have up here for your Engage New York lesson will go on that resource slide. In the next step, or the next video, I will be showing you how to use Explain Everything and create the MathCast. Thanks for tuning in.